Joe's dreams were shattered in an instant, but his promises lived on. Embark on a heart-wrenching journey of love and determination as we unveil Joe's extraordinary tale. Join me in exploring a bond that transcends life and death, where love knows no bounds.
As they lay together, entwined in each other's arms, Joe knew he had made a mistake. He had let his emotions cloud his judgment, and in doing so, had indirectly hurt Joyce once again. The weight of his secret threatened to crush him, and he knew he couldn't keep living a lie. But the thought of losing Joyce, of never holding her close or seeing her smile, was unbearable. He felt trapped, caught between his love for her and the truth he couldn't reveal. Joe's mind raced with conflicting emotions, his heart heavy with the knowledge that he had to make a choice, one that would inevitably hurt someone he loved. After waking up, Joe proposed to Joyce, eager to spend the remaining 7 years of his time with her. Overjoyed, Joyce accepted the proposal. However, when Joe suggested a court marriage with only her family present, Joyce was taken aback. "You always spoke fondly of your mom in school, so why don't you want her at our wedding?" she asked. Joe's response was firm. "Will you do as I say or not?" Joyce refused and left the house angry. A month later, Joyce returned to Joe with unexpected news: she was pregnant with his child. Joe was over the moon with joy. He suggested they have a court marriage first, followed by a traditional ceremony after a few months. Joyce agreed, and soon she gave birth to twins. In less than 5 years, Joyce had 4 children with Joe. Joe was a happy man, full of joy, but he was sad, knowing he only had 2 years left to spend with his kids and wife. One day, a heated argument erupted between Joyce and Joe. "Every time I ask you to take me to your hometown, you refuse. You promised to marry me traditionally 5 years ago, but still, nothing. I don't even know where you're from, Joe. Sometimes you behave like a ghost," Joyce said, frustrated. Joe's reply was vague: "It's not yet time for you to know my place." The argument escalated, with Joyce's relatives questioning Joe. But he couldn't give a good reason for not taking them to his hometown. They threatened to take Joyce and the kids away if Joe didn't show them his place. Frustrated, Joe finally gave in and provided the address of his home, but he refused to accompany them. Joyce, the kids, and her relatives traveled to Joe's village, leaving Joe behind, crying to himself, "They should have let me enjoy my remaining 8 years. Meanwhile, Rita lived comfortably in her new home, thanks to the NGO and Joe's foundation. She lacked nothing, but the pain of her son's death still lingered. Joyce, the kids, and Joyce's relatives arrived at the address of Joe's mom, the new house he had built for her. Joe's mom, Rita, welcomed them in and asked who they were looking for. Joyce said they were looking for her. Joyce introduced herself as Joe's wife, accompanied by Joe's kids and her relatives. They had come to see Rita because Joe refused to bring them home. Joyce mentioned that she got married to Joe 5 years ago. Rita laughed and asked, "Which Joe?" As Joyce was about to explain, she saw Joe's photo on the wall. "Ma, this is Joe," she said, pointing to the picture. Rita went to the photo on the wall, picked it up, and started cleaning it with her hands while crying. Joyce and her family were surprised. "Why are you crying, Ma?" Joyce asked. Rita replied, "Joe, my son, died 8 years ago." Joyce and her relatives were shocked. Joyce said, "It's a lie. We left Joe at home. In fact, let me bring our marriage photos. They are inside my bag." Joyce brought the photos out, but saw herself only in the photos. She remembered that Joe didn't like taking photos since he returned abroad. She searched her phone for photos she and Joe had taken in school, and pointed to the photo, saying, "This is Joe." Rita saw the photo and was shocked. Rita called her brother Sam, who was around, and asked Joyce to repeat what she had said. After much talking, Sam took Joyce and her relatives to the back and pointed at Joe's grave. "Joe died 8 years ago," he said. Joyce just fainted. After Joyce gained consciousness, she refused to believe what she had heard. She told Joe's mom, Rita, and Uncle Sam to follow her back to the city. Back in the city, at Joe's house, he wrote 2 notes, dropping them on the table with documents of all his property. One note was for his mother, and one for Joyce. After which, Joe cried and looked at the photos of all his kids. He went to their different rooms and took their clothes, touching them. After a few minutes, the tall man in white appeared. "Joe, your time is up," he said. "I gave you 10 years, but you chose to stay for 8. You can't meet with your mom again, as she is almost close to your house. It's against the law of transition, which states that a person given a second chance at life cannot interact with their loved ones once their time is up. Doing so would disrupt the natural order of life and death." When Joyce, Sam, Rita, and the others arrived at the house, Joe was nowhere to be found. They checked all the rooms but couldn't find him. They all returned to the sitting room. Then one of Joyce's relatives saw the notes on the table and documents and drew Joyce's attention to it.